All right, so you're in your sophomore year. You got through your freshman year. Maybe you joined a lab. Maybe you're doing a couple activities that are fun. You got decent grades. You got by. So sophomore year is definitely a step up. In bio curriculum, usually you'll be starting organic chemistry this year. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Some of you might be doing physics as well. Maybe you took that freshman year. Maybe you take that junior year. I don't know. It really just depends on your school. But Orgo is a step up. It's probably for most people, it's a class like you haven't taken before. And I know for me, that was a class I actually retook retook the first semester organic chemistry because I just didn't do well, didn't prepare like I should have, and it kind of bit me. It was probably my biggest blemish on my application to med school. So it's something to really be cognizant of. And so the way to really approach this sophomore year is be smart about how you structure your classes. You don't want to load up. You don't want to be taking orgo, physics, genetics, whatever it is. You don't want to load up in one semester and just be like, hey, I'll just buckle down. Well, you don't always have the time to buckle down if you have that many difficult classes because you have a lot of other things pulling in a lot of different directions. So you're going to want to, if you're going to take two difficult classes, really thin it out on the back end there, because if it's normally you take 15 credit hours, where you're taking two difficult classes, maybe cut three of those credit hours and just take 12 hours with those tough classes, or otherwise just take the full credit hours but only take one tough class at a time. For a lot of us, you can take a class over summer if you need to. I took one of my physics classes. I think I took physics 2 over summer. When you have the time to really be able to pursue these things. So in that sophomore year, be really careful and talk to your advisor about that. Talk to upperclassmen about that. They'll know. They can tell you, hey, this is a class that a lot of people struggle with, and it's not that you can't recover from a bad grade by any means. You can recover from a year of bad grades, but it always makes it a little more difficult if you don't perform well at any point in your college career. And next, at this point, you probably have kind of come to a good balance. Okay, these are some clubs that I'm interested in. This is kind of the route I want to take in terms of my social group, everything. And so in the sophomore year, maybe you branch out, maybe you pull back on the reins a little bit and say, hey, I kind of overextended in that first year. I'm gonna relax a little bit more. Maybe say, hey, I want to get a little more involved. That's really up to you to gauge that. But just remember, the sophomore classes are usually going to be a little tougher. Nothing that you're not ready for, but nonetheless a little tougher. And then at this point, if you're in a lab and say you did a semester already, maybe 2 semesters in a lab, at that point, that's where you can start to bring it up if it hasn't already been brought up that, hey, I really want to get a publication. And they know it's not like you have to come up with a reason of why you want to get a publication. Like if you're applying to med school, that looks really good for medical school, and maybe it's something you're very passionate about as well, that field of research, which is fantastic on top of that. So this is where you have to really be proactive and go out and talk to grad students or your PI, whoever it is, and say, hey, I want to get a publication. Kind of have them help you get off the ground on that front. And then lastly, this is the time to where you really might want to start considering looking into getting a rec letter or two. I ran into this problem. I was an undergrad student that I didn't do my homework in terms of what I actually need to have for medical school. So it wasn't I was on good terms with a few of my professors, but I wasn't really getting my rec letters like in a timely fashion that I should have, and so I had a little panic attack at the end because I was just freaking out that I didn't have my letters. I think you need about 6 letters in general. So that's something to review. I think I got 2 science professors, 1 English professor, my hockey coach, physician that I shadowed and my lab PI. So look that up. Look up what you need to be doing in terms of rec letters. And this is the time to maybe get a rec letter or two. Maybe you did really well in a sociology class and in your organic chemistry class. Great. Talk to those professors. Just learn about the process about getting a rec letter. I think I'm going to make a video about that and how to approach professors, how to approach a class if you say, hey, I want to get a rec letter from this professor. How do you approach that whole process? So I'll probably make a video on that in the future. So yeah, that pretty much covers the gist of what I would say are some of the big points of sophomore year. So next time we'll talk about junior year, and things are really starting to heat up because that's when a lot of us are considering taking the MCAT at the end of junior year. So I'll see you next time.